All right, Matt, if you're still around, let me know if you can hear anything. I thought I had a brilliant solution and it did not work. So let me know if you can hear me. You can hear me. Okay, perfect. So the plan for this video, I'll go into this amp more in a second. Awesome, welcome. It's clear too, okay, good. So I thought I would be able to simultaneously record with the camera because I've got my overhead camera that I use for the videos connected to my computer right now, and that's what's streaming. And it's still got a little bit of a laggy, glitchy video thing. I have to buy a capture card to get it to work properly. So that's just something I'll have to figure out later and purchase. But for now, it's fine. The video doesn't matter that much as long as the audio is okay. But what I was hoping to be able to do is record from the camera and live stream, and then but also I'm using my Rode shotgun mic for the audio for the stream, and I was hoping my camera would simultaneously, because it has a USB out to the computer, which is how you're hearing me now, but it also has a 1/8 inch out to the camera. So I was hoping I could do both at the same time, and it was working. And then all of a sudden it decided it's not, and it's got a ton of noise on the signal. So unfortunately, I think I'm probably gonna have to rip the audio off of this live stream and piece together the video that I will upload of this amplifier for the video itself. So I've already shot and done a lot of work to this. I'll get into it in a second, and there's some more work to be done today. But I thought might as well, because I've got the house to myself, might as well try and do a live stream while working on it, because I had such a good time talking with everybody the other day. I know it's a bit of a weird time, kind of middle of the day on a Saturday. Today's Saturday, right? I don't even know. This week's been a mess. Yeah, today's Saturday. So yeah, so that's kind of the plan here. So some technical difficulties. We're still figuring this crap out, but yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. The video's laggy and glitchy because it's literally streaming off of like I already talked about this before, but it's the remote viewer of the camera on my computer, and then I'm streaming the screen of that right now. So it's got some lag to it, but that's all good. Uh, I'm not doing any quick movements here while working on the amp, so I'm not too worried about that. Uh, yeah, audio is the most important piece, obviously. So cool. And then yeah, you guys aren't really able to see me. You can see my arms or whatever, but there's no way for me to do like dual cameras. I don't have two cameras first and foremost, but secondly, there's no way for me to really do anything else as is with the setup I have. So kind of is what it is, but you know what? We're gonna roll with it. I think it'll be good. So let me just go ahead and confirm some things here. All right. So I'm gonna work on just making sure everything is looking good on my end. So 1 second, but thank you guys for coming and hanging out. All right, I think we're back here. Matt, I think I might want this amp, by the way. I sold it, Matt. So this is I guess I didn't even say what the amp is. So this is the 1967 Fender Pro Reverb in spectacular condition. This thing is so clean. And yeah, so I've had it for a while. And I actually purchased it. You guys, the first time you guys saw this on the channel, it was in the Vibralex Reverb series. And it had some tubes I was looking for, and it was a good deal locally. And yeah, this is a great amp. It sounds fantastic. But ultimately, the Vibralex Reverb is just kind of a different level for me. Not sound or anything necessarily. It does have a different sound, but it's just kind of more of a holy grail. The Pro Reverb is not as sought after, and my goal was always a Vibralex Reverb. So that's why this has just been sitting, and I would rather take the Vibralex Reverb out. So this is, if you guys don't know, Pro Reverb and Vibralex Reverb are very similar, nearly identical, apart from, I believe it's a power transformer, so they have a bit more wattage, and then 212, obviously, versus a 210 in the Vibralex Reverb. So yeah, and this was in far better condition than the Vibralex Reverb. This thing, like I said, was all original. I don't think there's anything changed on it. Let me think. I did some changes to it, but yeah, when I got it, it was all original. I put in a new trem cap. This, in fact, might have been from you, Matt. I can't remember. This was a long time ago. And then you guys can see I put in new cathode bypass caps. I did the little twisty method there. Let me zoom in so you guys can see that. I'd never done that before, actually, so this was my first time giving that a shot, just because the eyelets on this are not big enough to fit all of those leads. Even with the small mod 25 microfarad 25 volt caps, it's just too tight of a fit to really get everything. You got the ground wire here, and then you've got the 3 resistors and then 2 caps. So that's just too many in one eyelet. So yeah, it worked well. Looks pretty sharp to me. Beautiful blue moldeds in here, super clean. All the resistors look great. You know, this is a transition era, so this is 67. So you do get some of, you know, you don't have all the same caps you would see in like say a 65 or something of the same era. They varied a little bit. But yeah, looks good. This one's got really big domes too, and a lot of the joints from the factory, which is always cool. You like the twisty method, Lyle? Sorry, one sec. Yeah, I've never done it before. Well, you guys saw the Vibralex Reverb series I did where I had the freaking massive 25 microfarad dual caps that F&T makes that are just comically large. And I still cannot comprehend why they're so big. I don't necessarily regret doing that because it was a good learning experience, and yeah, I don't know, it was something, but this definitely was much easier, but you know, to each their own. Let's see, I want to sell the couple of amps I built and get a Pro or Pro Reverb. So I'm after, I'll get into this probably in a bit more later, but I'm after, so I sold this, and I'm selling the AC30, my other AC30. So I've got a 1963-64. Lyle would actually know. Lyle, you can tell me. So it's a smooth Tolex AC30, copper top. It's got blues, so that would put it either early 64 or 63, if I remember correctly, but Lyle would know. They're hard to date, the Voxes. They're a lot trickier than something like this. But yeah, so I have I'm selling those two, and I had a line on a Tweed Tremolux, a 5G9. I'm after a giggable Tweed, so if you guys don't know, I gig first and foremost. But yeah, I'm really all about gigging these old amps. To me, I get a lot of joy and pleasure out of like playing these out. And so I kind of look through all of these through that context of like, okay, is this playable out? Because I like having amps at home, but ultimately I want these to be tools, and I think it's really cool and fun and unique to play out these old amps, because you know, a lot of times they just sit around. So my main gigging amp has been the 64 AC30, which has been fantastic since I did all that work to it. And my main blackface Fender amp for gigging is the Vibralex reverb. So got those two checks, checked off. So the gaping holes I still have in my collection are a Marshall. So I need to find a Marshall, and then a brown face and a tweed. But I really want a tweed. And I have a mint condition 59 tweed Princeton that is just unbelievably clean. And a tweed Princeton, if you don't know, from that era, 5F2A is basically a champ in a bigger enclosure with the tone control. So very, very low wattage amp, great for at home, sounds amazing. It's great for recording, but I can't gig it. And I really want to get a giggable tweed. That's always been a dream of mine. So I've been after something. Deluxe is not big enough. It's not going to be enough clean headroom, I don't think. But the 5G9 Tremolux, I'm really interested in. Sorry, one sec. My dog's barking. So yeah, anyways, the 5G9 Tremolux, the later one, which is 5G9, has a bit more headroom because it's got a different phase inverter set up than the earlier Tremolux, and that seems like a great amp. If you don't know, it's a Pro cab, so it's normally the cab that fits a 15-inch speaker, but it's got a 12-inch speaker in it, and but still has, I think it's like 18 watts or something like that, 20 watts, somewhere in that range. So I had a line on one of those, and man, I think the guy paid way too much for it. So he wants just way too much for it. I basically pulled up Reverb sold listings and said, I will offer you the average of what they've sold after the past 3 months. And I thought that was very fair for a cash offer in person. And his is not in the greatest condition. But it's great. It's good where it matters, but the exterior is not perfect. Which is fine with the tweed. And yeah, so I thought I was going to go pick that up today, and it didn't work out. Then I've got a line on a brown face center volume Bandmaster, which I don't know if you guys know anything about those. Those are incredibly rare from, I believe it's late 59 to early 60 when they made those. It's 3x10, and but it's center volume, so this was a very early, kind of the first brown face amps. And I've got a line on one of those. So I'm selling these amps, selling the AC30 to kind of make room for one of those, and those are 40 watts or so. So definitely giggable. Now I know people are going to freak out if they find out I gig a center volume brown face, but that's what I'm all about. So we'll see if that works out. Maybe in a coming video. Watch all your amp videos, even if you don't get the views you want. Greatly appreciate your content, especially anything Fender, Silverface, Vibralex Reverb. That's what initially led me here. Awesome. Well, thanks. I appreciate that, Robbie. Yeah, the views I don't care about. I just want to have a community to talk to people about this kind of stuff. I would take 30 really engaged people over 3,000 views any day of the week. I don't make any money from this stuff. It's not about that. In fact, I lose money with the amount of time I put into everything. It's more just the community side. This is not my job. This is a hobby of mine. I've got a career and everything, and this is kind of something I'm very passionate about, and I like talking with fellow passionate people. All tried those giant F&Ts once. Yep, for sure. I know, you told me exactly that, Lyle. North of me by 3 hours. Okay, so like what, Ventura area? Can you drive down to me and have a couple? Absolutely, totally. That's a long drive, though. 3 hours north, too. Is that 3 hours counting traffic because you got to go through LA and all that? Or is that just 3 hours if you leave at, 2 a.m.? Yeah, I don't have the book anymore for the Voxes to be able to say exactly, like, that had all the details of the years and stuff for everything. I wish I did. Fiberlux and AC30 pair well. I tried them together in my rig, my live rig, and they do sound really good. I think in isolation, but I think in a band, it wasn't like, I didn't play them in a band, but I just think that the tone, the frequencies and stuff, I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I've always been a little weary of doing 12-inch and 10-inch amps, like speakers in two different amps, and like miking those up, and I've always been a little weary of that in like a mono rig or a wet dry rig, but I got to play with it more. But definitely, in my perfect world, I'd love to have those two out. What I've been running is actually the Friedman twin sister with the AC30, which has been an insane combo. It sounded so good, and part of me likes having a modern master volume reliable amp to have, as kind of it's in the rig, but it's also serves as a backup for the vintage AC30 just in case. Just build a JTM 45. I know. I actually just got offered a 60s JTM 45 that's a basket case, and the owner really wants to sell it to me. I'm working on a couple of his amps. One of those was that Gretsch, which, by the way, is one of my favorite amps of all time since getting that and fixing it up. I've been playing it a ton, and it is spectacular. I really should do a mic'd video for that thing. But yeah, he's got an old JTM 45, but it's a basket case, and just so much I don't know about those that I've kind of declined. Making a cooking video. Yeah, hey, you know what, Lyle? It's your channel. Do whatever you want. That's, I think people will watch it. You got a big enough following now that you can do anything you want, I think. The question is, what are you cooking? It's like baking? Is this like, smoking meats? Welcome back, Matt. Get your gear, man. Play that brown face bandmaster off. You get it. Good old gear. I agree. Now, I don't abuse things. I'm not, I guess I should zoom out. But, yeah, I don't abuse things. I take care of them, and I make sure they're ready to be to gigged. But yeah, I don't know. Some people are crazy about it. Half the people I buy this stuff from, right? It's been sitting forever, and they do nothing, and they just collect dust, just like this did. The guy had a pretty big collection, and he was getting rid of some stuff, and yeah. So I'm just not into that. And also for me, I'm like, who am I buying this for if I'm not using it? And I'm just, saving it for the next guy that I sell it to? That's crazy to me. Like, I don't really understand that. I'm not about that. Why would I pay all this money and not use it? Let's see here. Sorry, one sec. My wife is texting me some photos of stuff at IKEA. I've got such poor light in this house. There's no overhead lighting in my office, so it's just so dark. So we're trying to find some light in there. See, Giga, we were talking about that. Always loved your videos, particularly the pickup swap videos. Thanks, Grayson. Trying to learn more about amps. I haven't found one amp I'm crazy about, so these videos have been awesome. Good. Well, I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. Those pickup videos were beasts to do, and I actually am planning on doing another one for my Strat in 2024. So the Strat, I did a video. If you haven't checked it out, I did a Ron Ellis versus Seymour Duncan pickup swap, and I don't think it did very well, but it was interesting. And if you don't know, my videos are like, this is what I want to do. I would do it if I didn't have a YouTube channel. I'm just going to record it and take you guys along with me, kind of thing. So the that guitar, it's had the Ron Ellis. I've never been a Strat guy. I have a Strat because I feel like you need a Strat. It's good for certain things, for tracking certain things. You can't get the out of phase, kind of 2 and 4 position with anything else. So it is what it is. But I've not really loved the pickups in it. It's got the Ron Ellis set. They sound good for the most part, but I don't like the in-between positions. In the middle, I don't like on it. So I picked up a Rewind Electric set. So my Strat is a 65 reissue. And I picked up, in the Ron Ellis set's a mid-60s set. And then the Rewind set I picked up is also a mid-60s set. So that will be coming later in the year. I actually, long story short, I purchased it used. And it turns out I talked to James at Rewind Electric, who's a good friend of mine, about it. And he noted that it's actually an old set that has different specs than what he does now. And so he offered to trade me a new set for that set. So we just got to find time to do that, because he's got to make them. And he makes all the pickups to order. So it's not like he has a supply sitting around. He's one of those guys that he is a massive gearhead, massively into old amps like this. He's actually taught me a lot as well. and he's a great guy to talk to. That's right, Matt. Come on over. Honestly, as long as you don't mind a baby crying in the background every once in a while, I come on over. I do gear hangs here, so if you know, I'll probably have to vet people before I say this, but so not a blanket offer, but I do host some gear hangs here in Southern California, and yeah, just there's some gearheads here that have some really cool collections, and when I find people and kind of they got a good vibe to them, and it's they check out as normal good people. We will do gear hangs at various places where we will bring, it's kind of show and tell for all of us, for all of our new acquisitions. And so we had one this week, and I had a buddy that picked up a 1970 Park, all original, beautiful amp. He just got it back from Mitch Colby, who did some work to it to get it up and running. We were playing that through my 412 here, my 74 Marshall 412, cranked up the AC30s, the Vibrolux, the Gretsch. Actually, the Gretsch, that amp that I recently did a couple of videos on, was a standout star for everybody. That thing was unbelievable. It sounded so good. People were blown away by that. But yeah, we do gear hangs here. And, if I can find people that have spaces that allow for turning amps up, we try and coordinate. And it's been a little bit since I did those, because I just got too busy with the baby and everything. But I do intend on doing more of those in 2024. So if any of you fellow gearheads are willing to do a little bit of a drive to North San Diego County or just San Diego, yeah, maybe we can work something out. Find me on Instagram, Yeatsy Guitar, at Yeatsy Guitar, and follow me, friend me there or whatever, and then just shoot me a DM and we can chat. Yeah, Matt, you've taught me a ton. I'd love to learn from somebody more in person. That'd be great. Black Eyed Peas for New Year's. Yeah, Lyle, I think my fear, honestly, is the tubes. I just, the JJ's failing on me had me a bit scared. I picked up some TADs, red bass or whatever, even though they don't have a bass, for the AC30 to put in, and I'm hoping those will be better. But I love Fenders because I can freaking just swap tubes like that. And in a gig, it's super easy. And with the Vox, it's impossible to swap tubes during a gig. So that just makes me a bit more fearful. And then also speakers, I'm using original silvers in it. So, and I play loud. We are a loud band for sure. Loud country rock band. Sound my 64 Fender. I'm assuming FDR means Fender Deluxe Reverb. That's awesome. I have never played a Blackface Deluxe Reverb, a real one. Well, I say real, a vintage one. And I am fascinated by how those sound. I'm very curious if those, if I would like that next to my Vibrolux. I got a call. 1 sec. I'm going to take this call. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, sorry about that. Super Reverb. Yeah, so another amp I've never actually played. I would love a Super Reverb. I was actually talking to, again, Matt from Rewind Electric about this last night. He's got a couple. They're a dime a dozen bucks they sell. And I would love to pick one up, but it's just not a high priority because they're so common. And I say this knowing that they're probably suddenly going to shoot up in value like everything else, but Super Reverbs are the steel. Actually, this is the steel center volume brown face. I mean, you don't get really any rarer or less common than that amp. So if I can make that work, that would be awesome. Radial headlight. Never heard of that. It does amp switching. Not sure radial. So amp switching as in like switching heads into different cabs or just switching into the front of amps. I've got the Lele, a little dual that I've been using for that. It's been fine. No issues. I actually like it a lot because it's passive. So I don't have to run I don't have to run power to it. You have a deluxe reverb that you built. Yeah, I'm sure you got a ton of cool amps that you built. And my Tweed Bassman. Is that a real Tweed Bassman? I don't remember. There's a few people I know with Tweed Bassmans, which kind of blows my mind how many there are here. Because I wouldn't expect it. But yeah, I know a few people with Tweed Bassmans. And I'm jealous. That was the dream. And I had a reissue actually for a bit. And like I think there's a couple blackface ones on the local Craigslist and whatnot, and people want like $5,000 for them, which is just ridiculous. Nobody uses a twin. They are too damn heavy and too damn loud. I know people with twins and they don't use them because they are too damn heavy and too damn loud. So twins are, I would think, would be a lot cheaper. But yeah, this to me is kind of the under the radar steal, the Blackface Pro reverbs. It's they're such nice amps. They sound it sounds like really what, in my opinion, a twin should. Like it sounds like a better twin because it's got clean headroom, but not too much that it's unusable. And it sounds huge with a 2x12, and it's not as heavy. It's much more practical. So yeah, I'm a big fan of these amps, and I would have absolutely kept it if I didn't think I had a line on some really cool replacements. And also just I don't play this because I'd rather take the Vibra Deluxe. So hello Yeezy, really love your repair videos. Cheers from Brazil. Hello, thank you, appreciate that, man. Vitor. Appreciate that. Yeah, this has been a fun journey doing these kind of videos. I'm still very much a novice, learning a ton, but I definitely feel like I'm getting better. There's a lot of knowledge I still have to learn and gain, but I'm a hands-on learner, and so I like recording this stuff and just kind of seeing my progress and getting better at it. It's got the buffers, phase switching. Oh, you built it. Oh, you built the Tweed Bassman. Two different conversations. Yeah. Buffers, phase switching. Yeah, I didn't really want a buffer, to be honest. So I have my Lele at the very end of my pedal board signal chain. And so it's got buffers right before it. And it's got really... Oh, damn, I lost the video. Oh, did the video go down? Is it not playing? What happened? What happened to my video? Oh, shoot. I minimized the window, and I think it took it out. Sorry about that, guys. Is the video back now? That's so funny. Whoopsies. Hopefully you guys can see the video back now. Let me see if it's showing up. San Diego, I'm in the specialty coffee world. Own a shop in the Midwest. If you're into coffee, send people to Bird Rock when they're in the area. Of course, Cafe Moto is the local star. You know, I am Robbie. I am I'm somebody who has a very addictive personality, and somebody that it's hard for me to once I get into a trend, it's really hard for me to get out of it. So I have personally avoided drinking coffee my entire life because I know a lot of people that are completely reliant on it. And I know I would get deep into that rabbit hole, and I just didn't want to have to be reliant on things to function, and get I say addicted in kind of a lighter sense, but so I don't drink coffee, but there are a million coffee shops here. So I live in Oceanside, which is North San Diego County. I love it here. This is my favorite place, and there's a million coffee shops here. Bird Rock. I am familiar with the names, but I've never actually been. Come on over, Matt. Seriously, just reach out to me and come on over. I've got a ton of vacation time too. I think you said earlier. So I've basically maxed out at my work. I've just been working so much. Ton of pedals. Cool. All right, it's back. Awesome. There's a funny delay. So thanks for confirming, guys. Well, I guess I should probably start working on the amp. Maybe. Wait, Matt, I mean, I don't want to blow up what you do for work, but that's insane. I didn't know you did that. Just sent me a photo. That's pretty rad. Where are you at right now? And how do you have service? You look like the middle of nowhere. Instant human, just add coffee. I know, so like my sister and brother-in-law are diehard coffee people. They had a coffee stand, crazy $5,000 cappuccino machine, all that stuff. Super into it. I know a ton of people that is their world. I know a coffee roaster, one of my good friends and bandmate. Coffee's a whole thing. I just never got into it. I wouldn't even know what to order if I went to a coffee shop. I would have no idea. All right, well, let's let me do one quick thing here. I wanted to try and share this stream, see if anybody else wants to join it. Salton Sea. Small towns with 5G right next to me. That's amazing. That's pretty cool. Does it bother you guys that you can't see? I've been trying to think of, like, there's no way for me to, without buying another camera or something, to show my face. Is the voice fine in the hands? Like, I was always curious if people like would just tune out immediately because they don't see a face for a live. Yeah, I love Ocotillo Wells out there. I've got a lot of good memories out in Ocotillo Wells. Giant, nobody knows, it's basically a giant desert area that people go off-roading, camping. There's some dunes out there. You can go shooting out there. Lots of stuff. All right, so I think what I'll do is get started on this. So I'm going to attempt to record an actual video with the camera while doing the live stream and just see if this works or not. I have no idea if it will. The audio, I think, is going to be a disaster. I'm going to have to rip from the live probably. So we'll figure it out, but I kind of want to just kill two birds because not a ton of people will catch the live stream. So maybe there's... and this is video too. I'm recording for the new owner of this amp. So talking hands is fine with me. Yeah, nobody needs to see my face, right? I mean, if you look at my videos of me playing, not the most recent stuff, but historically, I basically never show my face. I was never really into the guitar faces stuff. So let me give a quick background on this amp. So like I mentioned before, this is a 1967 Blackface Pro Reverb. Hope you can see that. Beautiful condition, essentially all original. I did a couple things to it. Let me grab a pokey stick here. Not sure what I did with mine. This will work. The amp is already safe, by the way. So, yeah, the whoops, where did my chat go? Bring it back. So the amplifier, things I did to it in an upcoming video, I have to edit. Editing takes forever, so I do a lot of work and then I just kind of bulk edit. So I swapped one of these caps right here for the trem. I put in new cathode bypass caps everywhere. So these are all mod 25 microfarad 50 volts. That's was in the video I filmed last night. It looks like, I can't remember, but it looks based off of the flux around here and here that I swapped the this resistor, which is not uncommon for those to have issues. But otherwise, as far as I can tell, it's all original. I don't see anything else that stands out to me. You know, it's got it's funny how the caps vary, especially in this transitional era. But these are original solder joints. This cap looks a little different than the other ones here. You see they're kind of more of a yellow color. It's a bit of a more of an orange color that you'll see, but that's not uncommon for these to be like that. So, and then outside of that, let's see, I'll have to zoom out a little bit here. I'm a bit limited on what I can do. I put in new screen grid resistors, so unfortunately the carbon comps were out of spec, and so I did swap those. I didn't have any fancy 1.5Ks, but I did have some 3-watt solid 470 ohm 5%ers for here and here for the screens. So I did that, and looks nice and clean. And then I did swap the bias cap. So I've heard a lot of discussion about what the proper bias cap is to use in one of these, and 100 microfarad 100 volt were kind of my go-to F&Ts, but I got turned on to the 50 microfarad 100 volt, so I started using those more. I was only talking hands for years. I still get requests. That's fair. I love your live stream setups, Lau. You got it dialed. They look so good. Maybe someday. I just don't have the infrastructure or the space. I'm facing a wall right now, so there's nowhere to put lights, this side of the camera to face me. I've got to kind of have everything off to the side, and it's just a hassle. But anyways, we make do with what we got. So yeah, outside of that, and then of course the 3-prong. So I forgot to mention this. So this amp was you guys first saw on the channel briefly in the Vibrolux Reverb series. I purchased this towards the tail end of that. Really, I purchased it for the tubes, to be honest. And then the next video I featured it. This was the guinea pig for the how to install a 3-prong in a vintage amp video. And so that's what I did on this one is swapped over the 2-prong for a nice 3-prong. So that's all I've done to it so far. And then today I wanted to do the doghouse because I haven't done that yet. Now, real quick, the owner of this amplifier, I'm not sure how many will know who this is, but he has a massive following. So it's Brian Wall with Worship Tutorials, which is a massive YouTube channel. They do a lot of digital gear, so a lot of like profiling of amps, Helix presets, fractal presets, that sort of stuff. And they use Kemper, Quad Cortex, and Tone X to profile the amps and sell those profiles. So I met Brian before at NAMM here a couple years ago. Very, very nice guy. And he's got one of the most insane amp collections of all time because he gets paid to do it, right? People pay him tons of money to get profiles of these really cool vintage rare amps, and then he gets to keep them because they pay for themselves over again by the profile. So he's got the hack down. That's the way to do it. And I actually tried doing that a few years ago, and then the market just got so flooded and saturated, it was just not worth it for me. But anyways, so he's purchasing this because he does not have a Blackface Pro reverb, and it was all original. I asked him, hey, do you want me to just send it as is? It works. It sounds great. I personally hadn't done anything to it because it still worked and everything sounded good. But do you want me to do anything to it? And he was like, well, what would you do if it was yours? Or what would you recommend? And I was like, well, I would swap all the electrolytics. So that's what we did. We got all that done, and we just got to do the doghouse next. And then unfortunately these were out of spec, so I replaced those. Hey neighbor, are you local here as well? San Diego, Southern California. So basically what I've got it rigged up here just to confirm everything is working. After doing all that work before I get into the doghouse, I just want to kind of make sure it's okay. Shouldn't have any issues, but we're just going to go ahead and turn it on. I've got this current limiter. Let's see if you can see that. So I've got a high wattage incandescent bulb here. I built this just following the Uncle Doug video he did forever ago. And then I've got my Variac off screen that you can't see. So we're just going to go ahead. I've got it plugged in, and it is also plugged into its cab, again, off screen. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and turn on the amplifier, turn on the Variac, and I also have tubes in it. So I do have a guitar plugged in as well, but I won't be able to play much because it'll clip the mic, but we'll just try this out. So we'll turn that on, and then slowly bring up the voltage. I guess I should get my multimeter. Hey, Lyle, if Lyle's still here, I'm pretty sure this multimeter was one that you recommended or had on your channel or something. Someone said something about it, and I decided to pick it up to try because it's pretty cheap. I put it on my Christmas list actually, and somebody bought it for me, and it seems pretty good. However, driving me absolutely crazy. This. I don't want my multimeter to beep every 2 seconds or every time I switch it, and I cannot figure out how to turn off the beeping. So, Lyle, I vaguely remember you talking about that. If you're still in here, let me know if you found out a way to turn off the beeping, because it is driving me crazy. But yeah, so we've got this handy dandy multi-auto ranging. I've got another one. I'm just kind of giving this one a shot. Will you be able to see that? No. The Pro Reverb's a bit tricky because the chassis is wider than the other. If I do it like this, you'll be able to see it. No, where am I going to do this? I guess I'll just hold it. $20 wonder. Yeah, exactly. So let me go ahead and connect this, and then we can just kind of see if we're getting any voltage going here. Where do I want to monitor? I guess we'll just go right here and just make sure we're getting some voltage going. Had in millivolts. Whoopsies. They don't change when you change the mode. They don't beep. Well, that's unfortunate. I don't know why then. That's so weird. Here's another question while I have you. Can you recommend me better, whatever you want to call these, little grabbing probes? These I don't get good connections with anymore, and I've tried cleaning them. They're just not really doing it. So we're showing 53 volts there, which is what the Variac is set to. Curious if we're showing any voltage here. We are. I got 27 volts there. All right, we see our DC voltage coming up. Hopefully you guys can see that. I see the pilot light starting to come on. We're at 72 volts. It's typically where I see the 6.3 volt pilot lights come on. About 330 volts now. We're at just under 100 volts from the wall. All right, that's 120 volts from the wall. You can see the current limiter is barely lit, which is what you want. So it will light up when it's turned on, but if it goes like crazy bright, then you know that it's you got a short, you got a massive issue. So we don't have that. That's good. Amp sounds dead silent. Now we can kind of go ahead and I'll just strum the guitar real quick just to make sure we're getting some output. The Fluke probes are the best. Fluke silicone probes. They fit on that meter too. All right, how do I find those? Just Amazon? Just search, like, do they have a name? What do you call those? Little clamps and little needles. Hey, thanks for joining, Matt. Have a safe trip. Safe travels, huh? All right, let me grab my Jazzmaster real quick. The de facto test guitar. This is probably going to clip. Let's see if it will or not. Maybe if I turn down the mic. Did that clip for you guys? Can you hear that okay? I can't tell on my end. Multimeter, Amazon or DigiKey mouse or multimeter probes. Okay, cool, appreciate it. Been in HVAC and plumbing for 24 years. I'm a bit of a fluke snob. Yeah, I know. Where am I at? I recommend, we already talked about that. Hey man, is this the one Brian, sold you? I can't remember who I purchased this from, if your name was Brian or not. This is a 67 Pro Reverb, so if that was you, then yes. Yeah, so this amp is awesome, super clean, and you can see some of the work I talked about earlier in this video, and I will have a video. Did it clip? Was it sounding all right? I mean, it's through a shotgun mic and the cab is far away, so it's not going to sound great, but was it okay? I don't know. I don't see anything coming in from chat, so hopefully the stream didn't go down. It's so hard to tell on my end what's going on. I think it was me. It was the non-drip edge, drip edge. Oh, the other Pro. Okay, so yours was the silver face. Is that right, Brian? Or is that the one you're talking about? I don't have a pick, so I'm just playing with my hands, but you get the gist. Here's the guitar. There's a super zoomed out view. So it is a Danocaster. I don't know if you guys can even see it. Yeah, it's a Danocaster. I love this guitar. It's one of my favorite guitars of all time. Sounds good to you, very clean. I think it was me. Oh yeah, it was a silver face with a black face circuit or something like that. I can't remember. Yes, okay, so your amp is actually sitting next to me. It's just over there. That's all reversed. Just over there. And yeah, so I actually ended up fixing that amp up and sold it to my bandmate who plays it in the band I'm in. And I have a whole video series on that amp actually. So if you go on my channel, and I should, if I was smart, I made a playlist for it. So you can check it out and see all the work I did to it. So trying to think, I'm pretty sure I did a video on it, or a video series on it. I must have. But yeah, no, I definitely did. And it's a great sounding amp. My bandmate absolutely loves it. So yeah, that was a very cool amp. That was the one with the replaced output transformer, right? Lovely. Amp sounds great. Like I said, these are the steal of the century as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, the amp is working. No issues. So Gosh, should I record this on here? I'm going to record this on the actual camera real quick. Hopefully the stream doesn't go down. So just to demonstrate playing the amp, and it works. Beautiful. All right, can stop recording that. And just confirm, let me know in the chat if that sounded okay to you. Don't need to comment on the playing. I know it's pretty rough, but I got no pick. I'm not a finger player. All right, we can go ahead and put this off to the side. We can turn the amp off. I really love this amp. I am sad to see it go, but yeah, I'm after bigger fish, as it were, and I've got my Holy Grail blackface combo already. Let's see if Brian responded. Check it out, glad someone used it. Yep, that's the one. There you go. Yeah, no, it is an awesome amp, and it sounds actually very different than this one. We A/B'd it, me and my bandmate, and he really loved the Silverface, and that's the one he ended up buying from me. And yeah, I did a bunch of work to it to kind of get it up to snuff, and since then it's been fantastic. And yeah, it sits on my house because he's in the middle of moving, so it's just over here off to the side. But yeah, it sounds, man, I think his best tones ever, I think, were through that amp. We did an outdoor gig, and he was able to turn it up to like 5 or 6, kind of like where I had it now. And he's got a guitar that's got some pretty hot P90s, and that thing just drove into just such beautiful, sustaining tone. It was really cool. Really cool. Dude, you're a great picker. I am not a great picker, but I'm also not terrible. That's what I say. I'm aggressively mediocre. That's where I land. Or I guess aggressively medium is maybe a different way to say that. All right, so now I guess we can go ahead and I can show how to make sure the amp is safe. I'm trying to think of what I did with my little snuffer stick. Everything is all over the place. Oh, it's over here. Okay, cool. So now I can kind of show, for those that don't know, how to confirm that an amp is safe. So I can show a live demonstration of that. Let's see, can you guys see that? Zoom in a little bit. So we got the multimeter here in DC volts. So we want to connect this to ground connection. I always like to use the little holes in the chassis on the side here, just because the little grabber can grip onto it pretty easily. And then my favorite place on fenders to check for voltage is right here, because you got that nice little jumper wire. And so it's really easy to grab onto. You can also do that one there. There's a bunch of places you can do it at. But you can see right now it's at just about 8 volts and slowly draining because this is connected. So this amplifier actually doesn't store, volts. It doesn't store much voltage when it's turned off and unplugged, as you guys saw me do earlier. But just for posterity's sake, I will show the process for taking out the voltage. So we got the snuffer stick here. You can buy these off of probably StuMac and Web. I got this off the Weber site actually. And then I put on a little alligator lead on one end just to make it easier, so I don't have to hold it. And you connect this to the chassis. Make sure you do it in this order. If you do it in the other order, you will get zapped. And then you'll connect this over to a spot that has voltage. So like I said, there's a bunch of places, so you can do it right here. And then you'll notice that it's now draining rapidly. And it'll drain. If you have more voltage, it drains quicker. The lower the voltage, the slower it drains. That's typical. And this is 2 volts, so quite a bit less than a battery. So there's no fear of being shocked here. And yeah, that's how you do it. Sorry, just checking something real quick. Perfect, okay. How do I see how many viewers I have right now? If people are, 10 people watching. Wow, okay. I wasn't sure how to do that. I just pulled it up on my phone. Cool, well thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out. So we will get to the soldering here in a moment. Put my phone off to the side. Okay, now, so it's, like I said, 2 volts, so non-issue. Take that out, and then now let's go ahead and prep for solder. And here in California, these high wattage incandescent bulbs are basically, how would I say that? They're essentially illegal. You cannot buy them or ship them to California. It's really hard to find. Like if I were to go on Amazon and buy a high wattage incandescent bulb, they won't ship to California. And basically no store sells them. Home Depot, nobody. They, pretty much have all phased out and just do LEDs now. But this is what you need for a current limiter, is a high wattage bulb. So, and I can't find any that are the ones that don't shatter when they get hit by something. So this is very fragile, so I always got to be careful about putting this away when I'm done. All right, let's unplug this, unplug this. Check all the tubes. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Saturday? It was pouring rain earlier today here in Southern California, but now it looks like it's pretty nice out. We've got crazy swells on the coast. So I live right by the beach. I live basically a 6-minute drive to the beach. And yeah, we got really, really intense waves going on. Which means lots of surfers. I do not surf. I wish I knew how to surf. One of these days I'll find somebody to take me out. Give it a shot. Although I'm not a fan of all the sharks. We got a ton of sharks here. Southern California has just had a boom in great whites. They're doing really well here. We got a lot of sea lions here and dolphins and all that sort of stuff, but lots of great whites. So I made the mistake of starting to follow a few different Instagram accounts that are they're drone pilots that fly their drones over the water here and spot all the great whites and stuff. And they're just right next to everybody. Nobody knows. They don't attack anyone. You know, we're kind of I guess it's considered like a nursery for the great whites. This is where they, you know, have all their babies and they grow up here. Well, I don't know where they have their babies, but they grow up here. We got a lot of baby sharks. And when I say baby, you know, like 6 feet, you know, they're still big, but there's some big ones here too. But yeah, so there's just a lot of them here, and they're really just after stingrays when they're that big. But people on drones capture them just all over, and you know, just swimming right in the waves with all the surfers and everything. And it's once I saw that, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I want to mess with that. You know, I just heard also, this is a slight tangent, but I think it was in Australia or South Africa, one of those two. A young surfer was just killed by a great white or a tiger shark or one of those. And yeah, just so tragic. I can't imagine a worse death, so I'd rather just avoid that. Anyways, slight aside. Make sure everything's working on my end. Okay. So we got the amp safe. We're going to go ahead and flip it over now and take a look at the doghouse. You can see the faceplate here, super clean. So we've got the 67 Pro Reverb amp here, and we got all the work done up here in the top part of the chassis, but now we need to flip it over and go to the doghouse. You can see it's got a very, very clean, it's dusty, but the actual faceplate is basically no damage to it. It's very, very clean. Looks great. So flip it over. You can see the transformers real quick if we want to check those out. So I can zoom in here. So this one reads 606, 614, so the 14th week of 1966. This one is 606, 620, 20th week of 66, 606, 625, so the 25th week of 66. So all the transformers date 66, and then the rest of the codes in the amp, the tube chart and everything, those are all 67. All right, kind of prep my workstation a little bit here. Do I want to do it this way? I'm going to flip it around actually, mainly just because my soldering iron is right here and I just need a little bit more space to work with. So I'd rather have this side over there. You guys should still be able to see it, right? Yeah. Try and get this right in the center of your screen. Okay. Cool. So let's go ahead and take off this and see what we're working with. And welcome any new viewers. I can't see on this screen how many people are watching right now. Looks like 8 people. Awesome. Thank you guys. Welcome. So this is just a quick recap. This is a 1967 Fender Pro Reverb. And we did some work to it on the front. Replaced all the cathode bypass caps, screen and grid resistors, and the bias cap. And now we are going to go ahead and see what's under the doghouse. I can't remember actually. I'm pretty sure it's all original. Let's see. Yep, all original. Look at that. Some people, that's what you want to see. Other people, not so much. Personally, that's what I want to see. That looks great. I love seeing things all original. You can see that this cap is actually bulging a good bit. You guys won't be able to see it necessarily. Let me see on the other side. So no bulging that side. This cap right here does have bulging, but the rest look okay. But obviously these are bad and we need to replace them. Let me see if actually I can give you guys a view. It's kind of cool, kind of interesting. Flip it up like that. Zoom in. You guys see that? So you can see how it's bulging right here and here. So those are signs of caps going out. Now, it wasn't noisy, but yeah, that's a very clear visual sign. Obviously, they're all original, so we want to replace those. Now, whenever I work with an amp that has a doghouse like this, where the caps are, you know, located in a separate area and it's got a standby switch, I always want to check for voltage in them, even if I did already on the other side, just to make sure that everything is okay, just to be safe. So we're gonna go and just connect like that and that. We got 1 volt, so nothing to worry about there. Yeah, totally fine. We'll confirm on these as well. And these have kind of a funky, oh sorry, it's the other one. These have kind of a funky layout. I was just gonna say is that you can notice that all the positives sides of the caps are facing me here, and then this one is facing the other way. So this is, and then these are 70 microfarad, 350 volts, and these are 20s, 20 microfarad, 500 volts. So kind of interesting layout here, not typical for what you normally see in the more popular Fender models. All right, start getting my stuff out. Got my solder here. Got my wick. Got my solder pump. Got this. And then got the soldering iron. Make sure everything's still okay on YouTube land. So let's see. Everything working all right? I'm doing everything off of an old laptop and it's just struggling. Oh, I didn't realize that you guys can see. Oh, how funny. You guys can see the little marker from the camera on the live stream. I didn't even notice that. Let me change that real quick. If I can figure out how. I'll just do it in the corner. Is that less distracting? I'll do it in the other corner. How do I turn that off? Well, sorry about that. I don't know how to turn that off. That's really weird. Interesting. Okay. All right, let's get back to it. So we're going to go ahead and remove all of these. Let me grab the new parts just to make sure I have everything on hand. So we've got two 70 microfarad 350 volts, There you go. These are replacement mod caps. You can see how much smaller they are. So again, we got to be mindful that the positive on this one is going this way and the rest are going towards me. And then we've got, the rest are all 20 microfarads. So we've got, how many? 3? So then we got 20 microfarad, 20, and then one more, 20. So that's the plan for today. Let's go ahead and put these off to the side. And get to work. Bend the mic down a little bit. And welcome to anybody new watching via the live stream. So we've got, again, this is a 1967 Fender Pro Reverb. And it was essentially all original when I got it, and we're just kind of doing some work to it because I sold it. So this is for the next owner. Just want to make sure it's all good to go for him. Now, how do I want to do this? So typically what I like to do is just start by adding a little bit of fresh solder to everything. Just to get the solder flowing, because this is all original solder. These have beautiful domes on them, which is going to be kind of hard to replicate, unfortunately. Cool, so we got fresh solder added to everything there, so we should be in a much better place with removing everything. Now, on some Fenders I've run into, they actually have the leads spider off to where they're actually part of the, so they go through the eyelet and then they also are used as jumpers to connect between the different positions here of the eyelets. I'm not sure if that's the case with these or not, so I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and start by trying to pull it out, and then if I see any resistance, I'll just cut it, and because we'll be removing the board and doing all of that. So but I think first we'll just start with this. And see if it wants to come out or not. And that one does not want to come out, so that's probably an example of that. Let me first take a photo of everything just so I have a easy to glance at record of where everything went. Cool. Let's try this side just to see. Yeah, it doesn't want to come out either, so we're just going to go ahead and remove these leads first. Can everybody see everything okay? Why don't you let me know in the comments if you guys are able to see what I'm doing. There's the first cap removed. We can move this wire out of the way a little bit. I think what we'll do is just suck out some of the solder first just to see what's in here. Braid's a lot better than the solder sucker, but to be honest, I've been using so much of it, I don't have a ton left, so I just want to kind of conserve what I do have, at least a little bit. And can everybody hear me okay? Let me know if you're having any issues. Let's see if we can go ahead and lift up this resistor here. We will measure these to see if they're okay or not. Interesting. Okay. That does not want to come out. So let's go ahead and just remove all of the wires, and then we can just remove the board itself. Sound is low. Okay, thank you. How about now? Is it better now? I turned it down when I was playing the amp. I completely forgot to turn it back up. Let me know if that sounds better. Good day, champions. What's up, Brad? Welcome. I think I saw you were doing a live stream today too, right? Live in 2 hours. Awesome. Well, I'll finish mine up before then so everyone can hop over to yours. We're just working on a 1967 Fender Pro Reverb. I just sold this amp. I've had it for a bit, and I sold it to a gentleman who, yeah, I just want to make sure it's good to go for him. So that's interesting. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a lead just kind of poking out right here. But it's, I'm not sure if you can be able to see that at all. It's sticking out. Let's see if I can put something under it that'll make it pop out, maybe my finger. Can you see that? So there's a lead sticking out of this eyelet, basically straight up. And but it's not connected to anything, so it's probably a bridge connection under the board. That's a bit goofy. those leads. See how many will just pop out, how many are going to be a pain. Some of them might be used to bridge connections, so that I don't know offhand for this model. We'll figure it out here in a short bit. I'm going to turn the mic up a little bit since I'm not talking quite as loud as I was before. You know, I think we're just going to leave those because now we can go ahead and just lift up the board itself once I get all this excess solder off. We can unscrew the board and then check it out what's going on underneath. And then the brewery video premiere starts after the live stream. All right, look at you. Lyle came in and said he's doing a cooking video. Hi, Jim. Welcome. For those just joining in, this is again a 1967 Fender Pro Reverb that I sold, and so I'm just doing some work to it for the new owner. I'm after some big fish, so I got to get rid of some stuff. So I'm selling my other AC30, the one that I showed in the first AC30 video I did, not the Super Twin that I worked on. Get all this just out of the way. So let's see, the quick reveal, what's going on in the back. Oh yeah. So that would be why some of the wires didn't want to come out. Make sure I have the orientation correct on this. So there's the date code on it. 11/67. 11th week of 67, I'm guessing is what that is. Little T for Tanner there. So that'll help make sure I keep it right way up when I disassemble it here. So for these ones that are the bridge connections, I'm just going to leave the factory bridge connections because they work. There's nothing wrong with them. And we're just going to go ahead and bend over the leads so that, and then we'll cut them. If I was going to spend all day on it, then I would redo them all. But there's really no reason to do it other than just to make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing. But nobody's going to see this. Two 50-watt Marshall style heads and a Princeton reverb to build. That's a lot. Yeah, you seem like somebody, I don't know you very well, Brad, but you seem like somebody that likes to stretch themselves. I know friends that just take way too many gigs, and I always tell them, dude, you just need to take it a bit easier. And they continue to say yes. They can't not. All right, which one do I want to do next? Probably just pull this lead out now. Still got to go for a run and swim at the beach every day, but I'll fit them in between pure clock. Fair enough. Do you live close to the beach, Brad? I was never a big beach person, but then through work, I ended up living right next to the beach, and I've really enjoyed living here. We got crazy surf right now. We got a big king tides, so it's all over the news. I'm there for a few days. Got it. I would love to organize my setup here a bit more. I just don't have a lot of space, and I don't have any. I don't want to spend money on organizers. I really should. Shit talking catch up time. I mean, that's the best use of a live stream, right? It's not actually to get work done. They're the worst things for getting work done, right? So many distractions. Making some progress here. Yeah, I don't have much space at all. I mean, I do have organizer bins. I've got 3 of them here, but it definitely could be better. I've started amassing a stock of things. So, I've got a bunch of spare tubes. I've got, a bunch of caps. That's why I'm able to do this job right away. Is I bought a bunch of caps, so I had those laying around, things like that. I got resistors. I talked to Lyle and kind of figured out the number, the top values I need to purchase from like 47 ohm to 10 meg, and then I have a drawer of all I bought some carbon film for each value just to have on hand. But it's the struggle I have really is like tools and leads everywhere and stuff like that. That just kind of gets a bit chaotic. I was at my my wife's grandparents' house the other day, and her late grandfather's garage is just beautiful. He's got all of these tools and it's just laid out so well, and kind of inspired me a little bit. So maybe take it a bit more, be a bit more intentional about it on my end. All right, so just as a recap of what I'm doing here, assuming, pretty sure you guys can see everything. But yeah, so just a quick recap of it. We're just literally recapping. We took out all of the old original caps here, and all I'm doing now is just kind of cleaning out the eyelets so that there's no real solder in them, and making sure all of the junction wires are bent over nice and tight so that we're good to go for there. And then we'll check the resistors here in a second to make sure that those are good. But you can see here, let me change to autofocus here. So you can see here that this right here, hopefully you can see that. It's like sticking straight up. So this is the lead right here, the bridge wire. And I guess Fender just didn't bend it over. They just kind of left it long and just cut it at the top. Kind of funny. Kind of stuff you don't really see too often. That goes to show you, hand wired, hand built. Stuff like that happens. All right, now let's see. Let's just finish out this top here. You can see there's a lot more junction wires there. And these leads right here are part of that, so we're gonna have to keep those, but we'll do the same like we did here. Just bend them and cut them down. And I forget that you guys can see the little autofocus square there, so I just moved it off screen a little bit. Hey, Jay, what's up? I don't want to butcher your name saying it out loud for the first time, but welcome. Jonas? Did I do it right? We're just working on a 1967 Fender Pro Reverb right now. The actual work streams are a lot less fun than the just chatting. I've got to actually concentrate a little bit. So we got a couple people from Australia watching. Where's everyone else from? Yanash would be close. Yeah, see, there's no chance. Made in the USA, baby. What part of Australia are you in again? Not that I would know. If you say it, I'm not going to know. But Brad is also in Australia, so. Well, I made that much harder for myself than I needed to. Should have bent it over that way so I can lift it up. Oh, that's right. My bad. My bad. My memory's not great. It is what it is. There we go. Okay. Bend that over that way. So now I have actually room in the eyelet to fit the lead of the capacitor, because that's important. So NSWs, is that? Yeah, I don't even want to say it. I'm gonna be wrong and look like an idiot. I remember you saying the name Wollongong. That I recognize. Love the guy. Oh, I'm sure that's the local saying, right? All right, we're making progress. And all this crap you see here, that's all just old flux, so that'll come off. That'll come off when we're ready for it to come off. Onward. New South Wales, yeah. That's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot if I was wrong. Oh, yeah. Okay. Levi, come here. It's okay. Come here. Hey, buddy. Come here. Whoa. Let's see if everyone can see my dog here. I don't know if he'll show up or not. Let's see. Levi, is your head is your head visible? What's up, buddy? You might have seen him in a couple of videos. He just kind of shows up in the background every once in a while. All right, let's get you back down. It's a beautiful day here in Oceanside after a pretty gnarly rain storm last night and this morning. What are you working on? Deluxe Tremolux? So this is a 1967 Fender Pro Reverb. Basically all original. Got all the original caps here in the doghouse, and we're just swapping those out. I sold it to Brian Wall from Worship Tutorials, actually. And I'm just kind of getting it set up for him before I ship it off. This will be the first amp I've ever tried shipping. I'm a little nervous about that, to be honest, but he assured me it'd be fine, and he's going to pay for whatever it costs. So I said, why not? It sold within about 30 minutes of being listed. And if anybody's interested, I do have a 1963-64 AC30. It's got blues in it, original transformers, all of that stuff. I'm selling it because I'm after a couple white whales, actually. I'm after a Tweed Tremolux. Speaking of Tremolux, I thought I had a deal on one that I was going to go possibly pick up today, but the deal fell through. And the other one is a Bandmaster, a brown face Bandmaster, which I'm not sure if that one will work out or not. I'm not sure how much the owner's going to want for it. Probably a ton, but that is a Holy Grail amp for sure. And something I would love to gig, because people would freak out about gigging that, which makes me want to do it even more. All right, I'm making good headway here. So we can leave these as is if they test fine. So let's test them real quick. Shipping amps. Yeah, so he told me basically just bring it over to FedEx or whatever, and they'll pack it up and do everything and just charge them whatever it costs. Yeah, I'll hop over there, Brad. See ya. Thanks for stopping by. Let's go and check these 220Ks. 234K, that's fine. I'm not personally one of those people that's like, if it's not exactly 220K, you know, I the whole 10% tolerance thing, if it's close, it's close. And I don't think it's really worth replacing necessarily unless they're way out. But 220 to 240, it's more than 10%, but it's not, to me, that's not like, we got to get rid of them. So we're going to leave it. And I think I'm going to cut this though. Do I leave that? No, I'm going to leave that because that's factory, right? That's what the factory did. They left that. So we'll leave that. Let's see what these resistors are. I might have to lift one out. Lap Shark. Finally got the advice of an expert. 150-pound Rottweiler. Wow. Big dog. 1/2-inch plywood on the bottom. It's not a bad idea, actually. I'm not opposed to doing anything like that. I just, I don't even know where to begin. I've never done it before. I'm a little nervous that the amp might not make the journey. But then I think like, hey, my AC30s, right? They got here. So it's possible. I have to get this from the top, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I could borrow a table saw from my dad, I guess. I don't know. Once it's ready to ship, I'll cross that bridge, right? Right now, I'm not worried about it. I'll figure that out later. Got the leads of these resistors. I don't know if you can see this or not. They've got the leads of the resistors just barely long enough to get past the eyelet, and they're slightly bent over. So that's going to be a bit of a pain, unfortunately. Let's see. Yellow, purple, red. Who knows what that's supposed to be? It's got a 3 in it. 33K, 330K. Let's see, 3.3K. Showing 4.9, so this one's probably quite a bit out. Let's see what it's supposed to be. I know the codes like that are more common, that you see more typically in Fenders, but I don't know the resistor values that are less common as well. But easy to pull up a calculator here and just see what it is. So we've got yellow, purple, violet, I guess they call it, red, silver tolerance band. Oh, so I was completely wrong. This is supposed to be a 4.7K. Typically when I think yellow, purple, I think there's a 3 in there, but obviously I was wrong. 4.7K, so this is 4.9. And let's see, 4.7 plus 10% is 5. So we're good. This is within tolerance. So we can keep that. This should be a 10K, I think, or a 1K. Looks like it's a 1K. We will confirm real quick. Brown, black, red, silver, 1.1K. And that one is within tolerance. Cool, so we can keep the original resistors. That's always nice. Again, I'm not the kind of person that's, oh, I see an old carbon comp swap with metal, a metal film or whatever. You know, I don't like to do that. I like to leave things as factory as possible, within reason. Where's my cutter? Here we go. Well, thank you guys for joining me on this Saturday. I appreciate that. It's nice to have people hang. It's a little weird doing work in a live stream and trying to record. I'm not sure how well the the video is going to come out, but that's okay. I do have to clean this eyelet out a bit more, though. There we go. I just need to make enough room for the resistor or the cap lead to fit through there. So we're good there. Let's go ahead and do this one now. Is the audio okay? Can you guys hear me all right? I feel like I'm talking quieter and quieter, so it's probably harder to hear me. But it is weird talking just in a room alone. It's not something I've ever really gotten comfortable with, despite all the videos I've done. Some people, they're natural at that, but I am definitely not. One sec, guys. I'm getting a phone call. Uno momento. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking in here. Yeah, he did a big dual on the board. He did a 2-amp Doctor that says it's made in Germany, so let's make the reasonable assumption that's F&T. And then 2 Sprogs in the bias supply.
Okay.
He put a bias trimmer pot in there.
Nice.
And he added screen grid resistors to the power tube sockets.
Awesome.
They didn't have it.
Yeah.
Factory.
Take some photos. I want to see it.
There's my loose bolt staring me in the face.
Oh, yeah. Are you able to reach it okay now?
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I looked at my pictures again, and I was like,
Yeah. Oh.
Anyways, so what do you think I should drain this to?
I mean, just think of a battery. Once it gets to 9 volts, you're fine.
Okay.
I mean, you could just have it, leave it on there for just go walk away a little bit, come back. You know, but I was just looking at like a 9-volt battery. That kind of shock. Are you okay with that shock? And then if you are, and then once you get shocked, it'll go away. But yeah, you can just let that. And I would check all the caps again, just quadruple check everything.
So there's 2 can caps, and then there's 1 dual on the board, and those are the only ones really storing voltage, right?
Yeah, those are the ones that have the voltage that could be a problem.
Got it. So yeah, the one on the board is like 8 volts.
Yeah. And I would just like I don't know that circuit, so I would just like check, just prod out everywhere and just make sure there's nothing hidden. But
I mean, I'm definitely gonna check the bolt I'm about to touch.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's that bolt itself doesn't touch any of the circuit. It only touches the chassis itself.
Right.
So it probably would have been safe to do it, but all things being equal, well, this is good to learn how to do. So
Yeah.
I like this
For sure. So
anyways, all right. Enjoy your live stream. Maybe I'll turn it on here.
All right. See you, Rusty.
Bye.
See ya. Yeah, I had it muted, Josh, originally because I just didn't know if he wanted to be on the stream or not, but he didn't care, so I turned it back on. So that's my buddy Rusty. He's got a 1970 Park. If you guys checked out my, you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen a video of us playing it the other day when we did a gear hang, and he was just wondering how he had a loose transformer bolt, and so wanted to just make sure that it was safe for him to go in there. What's up, man? So this is just for everyone tuning in now. We've removed all of the old caps here. These are all the original Mallory's, and we're swapping in new caps. The original resistors all measured fine, so we're going to keep those. And this layout's a bit funky to where you got the first 70 microfarad 350 volt positive going that way, and then all the rest of the positives are facing towards me here. And so we're just going to kind of roughly lay it out, and then we'll silicone them in, and then we'll solder everything. But first I just want to kind of get the leads roughly straight. It always bothers me when the leads are all kinked. The mod caps are actually a lot harder to keep them from kinking. They're not as thick. I think that's partially why they're not as expensive as F&Ts. The caps themselves are excellent. They're rated to 105 degrees Celsius, which is actually more than most F&T caps, if I remember correctly. They're really good caps, but I think they cheap out a little bit on the, the exterior look. It's just, it's not as classy looking. It's just got the clear shrink wrap versus the F&T, and then also I think the leads themselves are just not as thick as the F&Ts. But the caps themselves, again, are excellent. So that's a bigger priority. Unfortunately, when you buy them, they come, wrapped around themselves. So you got to kind of do what I'm doing now. Try and get them to be a bit more straight. I'm so zoomed out. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. And if you're still watching, shoot me a text of the amp. I want to see it. I want to see the insides. Such a cool amp. I'm lucky to have a lot of friends with very cool gear, and we get to do gear hangs every once in a while, and that's a lot of fun. It's good to do show and tell with all the new stuff. I think he won the gear hang. He had a historic makeover Les Paul, pretty incredible, and then that Park. It's hard to lose when you're bringing those two to the table. This is where my OCD starts to come into play a little bit. Like, does this matter at all as far as like actual performance? No. It's purely visual and nobody's going to look at it. But here we are. So again, we got two 70 microfarad 350 volts and the rest are 20s. 20 microfarad 500 volts. The old brown, orange Astrons. Like in the tweeds. There's just something like, I know people get upset when you stuff caps. I stuffed the bypass caps in my reverb unit. I've got a 64 spring tank, and that was all original when I got it. And yeah, I stuffed the caps just to try on that because I think the look, I really like the look of those, like you're pointing out, the Astrons. They look really good. And it looks weird. Those amps look weird without it. So for me, it was like, I feel the same about the yellow Astrons too. The coupling caps. It feels just weird when they're replaced. The look, even with the Mallory 150s or whatever, they look okay. But nothing quite looks like those. I've seen people actually, I saw a picture recently. I saved it on my computer because I was like, wow, this is crazy. I got to give this a shot. Where they actually cut open those yellow Astrons and put in Mallory 150s inside of them. So then they were cut open and you couldn't tell really. It looked really sharp. So if I do in fact end up getting that 1960 Fender Bandmaster, I don't know the condition of the inside. I've never seen it, but assuming it's mostly original, I think I'll do that for that amp because that seems like an amp worth it. All right, so we got all those mostly straightened out, so we're in a better position than we were before. Let's go ahead and put these off to the side. We can get the solder out of the way for right now. I need to get my silicone here, and I've already cleaned it with isopropyl. You guys saw me do that. So for the silicone, I just use this silicone RTV, the clear one. Never give me problems. I've used it for everything. So typically what I like to do for these is just to kind of, I'll do one and have it roughly in the center. This little bend is going to bother me. And this is a losing battle too. I want to make that clear. There's no way to get it perfectly straight, especially when the leads have already been bent and they're thinner like what's on this. But, you know, that's not going to stop me from trying, of course. So we're going to put it roughly in the middle. And what I like to do is get a Sharpie and just put a tiny little mark of kind of roughly where it needs to bend over, start bending over. That way I have a reference point, and then I'll just hand bend it because I don't have any fancy bender. I'll just kind of use my finger to do that sort of thing. Because you don't want it to be a straight right angle. You want it to have a slight kind of bend to it. And I'll just keep playing with it with the leads long until I'm happy with it, and then I'll match the other ones to it. So something along those lines. You can see that. And then I can kind of just do a little test hovering over if I overshot it, which I did a little bit, which is fine. So then we can just kind of make the bend a bit more, start it a bit earlier, like that. And I try and use my fingers just because I'm able to be a bit more gentle with it. And this enables me to straighten the lead out a bit more like this too. My stomach's growling, pretty hungry. So now let's see where we're at here. So that should be good. So now that we've got that roughly in place, we can go ahead and bend the other ones to try and match it. It doesn't need to be perfect, but just kind of in a similar vein. So we can kind of just do a little test fitment here. So it'll look something like that, which looks pretty sharp. And we'll go ahead and silicone it on after we bend the other ones to roughly match. Have you ever bent the lead around the Sharpie? That's a good question. I've not. I've seen people do a lot of stuff like that. I have tried bending around this, but Sharpie's probably better. Let's see. I'll try it on the other one and see how that works. I like your idea already. See, this is why I like doing these things. There's so many little hacks and stuff, and I'm just figuring it out as I go, you know. So I'm missing out on better ways to do things. So let's do a test fit on that one. I bought some of those cone-tipped pliers for making those bends. Oh, yeah, I've seen those too. Yeah, that'll work. Looks good. Again, these leads you'll never get perfectly straight. And it drives me nuts. It really does. But they're just so thin. There's one. There's two. Get this last one going here. Do appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much for spending part of your Saturday with me here. All right, that should work. Now let's just go ahead and make sure everything is straight. We're as straight as we can get it, right? We're not going to freak out about it, but looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. This one's a little wavy. Yes, I know I'm crazy. This stuff matters to me, though, because I think it shows that you care. Right? I mean, I've worked on several amps where they literally just cut the existing leads off and then just J-hooked on the new ones. In fact, I think that was what was on my Vibrolux. And to me, I'm just like, man, to me that just shows you're just working as fast as you can and you don't care. That's what that says to me. Which is kind of the opposite of what I want to get across here. All right, so now that that's done, we should be able to just add silicone and then we'll bend the leads off and cut them on the other side. But first things first, we'll take off the silicone here. And then I don't add a ton, just kind of enough to go from the front to the back, something like that. And then remember, positive side facing me. Switch this to autofocus so that it's not hunting everywhere. Get that placed down and then I just give it a little squeeze. you can see some silicone coming out both sides. Looks nice and even. And then we'll carefully go ahead and just bend these leads over. Just like that. So now it'll hold itself, no problem, no solder needed. You know, it's not going to go anywhere. If you run your fingernail along the lead from the alternating perspective, you can get them really smooth. Always outward though. Yeah, have you worked with these leads? These are so, like, I understand what you're saying. Thicker leads, like the stuff that's on like the original, you won't be able to see, but they're thicker. And these I just find really frustrating. So I tend to just do like that. This is not a serrated plier, so it doesn't, you know, doesn't mangle them in any way. But that looks good. Happy with that. So that's one down. Let's go ahead and do the next one. Try and get them pretty even there. Silicone looks good. We did get a little bit here on the side, but we can scrape that off. We can hit that with some isopropyl after, but no biggie. Again, we'll just be nice and careful here with the bending the leads. There's two. One more to go for the 20s. I hope you get that Bandmaster, assuming it's, yes, exactly. It's a 1960, which was very rare. They only made it for in the beginning of 1960 in this seeing your photos now, Rusty. Man, it's such a pretty amp. I'm gonna show the stream. I don't know if people can see this. Look at that. So this is a 1970 Park. Sounds as good as it looks. And worked on by the famous Mitch Colby, who is a genius. That's awesome. What was I saying here? Oh, the Bandmaster. Yeah, so in 1960, or late 59 into early 1960, Fender did the Bandmaster 3x10, just like what the 5E7 is, the vintage tweed one. But it's the brown face model, 5G7. And it's got more wattage. It's got the harmonic trem. Beautiful, beautiful amp. And yeah, they didn't make it for very long. And the cool thing about this one is the very earliest ones were center volume, meaning the tone controls were before the volume on the faceplate. So I think it goes treble, bass, volume, and then it goes into the trem, if I remember correctly. Last one here. And there you go. So there is there's the 320 microfarad 500 volts silicone on, and the wires bent over. We will cut these, but for right now we're just going to leave it and go on to the last ones, which are the 270s. So this 70 will be going that way, and the other one will go the other way. But we'll do the Sharpie trick, courtesy of, who was it that said that? Dun-dun-dun. Buddy. Buddy with an H. There you go. Thank you, sir. We'll go there, roughly there, roughly there. Let's do a little test fit here. Perfect. So we'll have to do both differently because their orientation is different. The lead is longer on one side than the other with the way I set it, but that's fine. I just kind of want to make these roughly even. That looks good. Straighten that leg out a little bit. That's what I got for my baseman. Oh, the mods, yeah. No, the mods are great. I really like them. They perform great. They're rated really well, 105 degrees Celsius. That's you don't see that on most caps used for amps. You see that on like a, you know, certainly not common on the radial style caps like this. Or gosh, radial, axial. These are axial, right? Do I have that right? But yeah, you don't see that very often for these kind of caps. So they're great. And like you said, they're very affordable. I don't like to call them cheap because they're not cheap parts. They're not crappy parts. But they are definitely affordable, especially compared to F&T and even more to Sprague. All right, that looks good. And now we got just one more. Welcome any new viewers, by the way. Again, this is a 1967 Fender Pro Reverb. We took out all the original caps. Here, the resistors measured fine, so we're going to leave those. We're just adding in the new mod replacements. Riveting content, I know. All right, let's do a test fit. Looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the silicone for the last cap. So I get silicone on my finger, of course. You get these from CE Distribution. Yeah, I think I bought these from Tubes and More, their affiliate. Or is it Antique? Tubes and More, Antique. I can't remember the name. There's a few of them. Yeah, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where I got it from. I do shop around to see who's got the best price. And it depends on it. Some of the Tube Depot stuff is cheaper for the same items, but typically the CE Distribution affiliates are quite a bit less for like little odd end parts like switchcraft jacks and stuff like that. Like Tube Depot tends to be quite a bit more for those for some reason, in my experience at least. Brilliant. All right, that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? So again, not soldered in yet, but looks sharp. And this will be good for decades, which is exactly what the new owner, I'm sure, wants. Cool. So let's go ahead and solder it in, and then we'll cut the excess lead length. Yeah, so you're right. Yeah, so antique amplified parts, is that what it's called? Is that what I'm thinking of? CE's the wholesale branch. Yeah, I tried to actually get a because they do like a wholesale thing to businesses, and so I reached out just to see and if they would take me, and they did not. Just do my final once over everything, make sure it's all good. Cool. So now, actually, what do I want to do? I guess I can have it floating. Oh, I got to do all these too. I'm trying to think if I want to bolt it in first or solder these in and then the wires. No, let's do the wire. Let's do it like this. It's going to be a bit of a pain. So let me refer to my cheat sheet. Antique electronic supply. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, those are all the same, right? Tube Depot is the one that's different. Hey, Jaybird. Yeah, you know, I was looking at one of my old videos and I saw you had commented on the old Magnetone 108 series I did. That was my first ever series. And I didn't even realize that's been you. So you've been around since the Genesis, really. Thank you. All right, let's see where this one's going. So looks like this one is going here. This is my little cheat sheet on the side. Well, let's cut it first. What am I doing? What are you doing, Tanner? It's once you get on the live stream, you just start doing things weird. So we'll go ahead and cut the excess leads on these. Well, hey, thanks for sticking around for so long, and since you know what you're doing, bearing through all of my mistakes as I go. Appreciate it. All right, that looks pretty good to me. Make sure those are all bent over nice. Okay, check, check. All right, now we can go ahead and start feeding it through. This is where things get a little fiddly. There we go. All right, so we got everything out. Tubes and more. I've been enjoying your channel for a while. Can't build amps and try new gear as much as I would like, so living vicariously is entertaining. Well, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I feel very lucky to be able to own what I do and try what I do. Very lucky. It's, you know, there's a huge advantage to living where I live in Southern California because there's just a lot of cool amps laying around and a lot of cool people, a lot of, you know, amazing collectors and all of that. So it's been neat. You know, if I lived in the middle of nowhere, I think it would be a lot harder. All right, let's see what needs to go where. So we got this one here. So I think we'll probably just solder as we go. All right, so the first one we'll do is this right here. Let's grab the solder out. Hello, any new viewers, by the way? Welcome. As a reminder, this is a 1967 Fender Pro reverb we're working on. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Seattle and Portland aren't bad, but I see the best deals down in Cal and guitar stuff. Yeah, I think you're probably right. There's a lot of crap here, too. Let's be very clear that people want inflated numbers for things in California a lot. And stuff sits as a result, but there are gems here. More gems than usual. There's also a lot more competition. That's another thing to keep in mind. Versus other places, you know, you're in the middle of nowhere. There's someone posts a cool old super reverb or something, you know, there might not be a market for that. Whereas here, there is. Although super reverb's a bad example because there are so many here. It's just flooded with super reverbs in Southern California. There's just a ton of them. Which I was talking about earlier. Let's see. So we got to connect this, looks like right here. So because it's so long, we'll probably snake it on the inside and do something like that. So let's do that. It had a big cap to get around normally, but we don't have to worry about that now. And because it's solid core wire, we can kind of get it to do whatever we want. Is the audio and video okay for you guys? Let me know what you think. I am considering buying a capture card to get better video. Right now it's just basically a capture off of the live view of the camera, which is not great, and it ends up being pretty laggy. But the audio is an actual Rode shotgun mic I have. Yeah, let me know what you think. So there's that. Let's go ahead and solder this side in. Super Reverbs rock. Blues and country. No, I know. I want one, but I'm not jumping for one because they're so common. They're everywhere here. For better or worse. And when I say super, I mean like a black face and silver face. They're just so common. Like I'm watching right now on Craigslist, probably 3 of them. 3 blackface era. And if they're that common, I'm not jumping up and down for them because like I can get it whenever. You know, it's the stuff like that center volume Bandmaster that I'm really interested in because they're just so rare. You never see them. It's a piece of history. The Super Reverb is as good as it is not really a piece of history. I don't, just a typical one. All right, so we got that done. We've got this done. Probably bend this to be a bit more straight. Like so. All right, now we got to move on to this eyelet, which is using just this long lead here. Where are my other leads here? So this one and this one are both going here. So let's get all that kind of situated. Watching a phone at 240p. Okay. You're not the guy to ask. Bad video quality really bothers me. But, I mean, that's because I film this stuff. So to me, I want to see 4K. I want to see it be, nicely lit and all of that. But I did kind of let go of some of those personal hang-ups because it just, it was stopping me from being productive. Let's put it that way. I'm trying to get the lighting perfect on everything, then I end up doing nothing, basically. And with this kind of stuff, amp tech stuff, it's like, it doesn't really matter. As long as you can see what I'm doing. I'm not too worried about it. So this eyelet's going to be tricky. Yeah, this one's going to be tricky because we got to fit 3 more leads in there. There's not a ton of room. So we've got to fit this yellow. Let's get this black in here actually just while we're there because it's just kind of a pain in the way. All right, now we can move on. So I guess we can go down the line, at least get stuff situated. So we've got this one right here, we'll go there. I'm thankful this is all solid core wire. This would be such a nightmare if it was stranded wire. Couldn't even imagine. That's like the worst part of working on the old magnetones and stuff. I mean, one of the worst parts is the wire is just so bad. So we got that there. This one will go here. Let's kind of bend that through as well. So got that there. And then the original, this one went under. So we'll do that again. So this will go like that. I am on a bit of a... The clock is looking at me because my wife is out with my in-laws shopping, but they're on their way back. So I want to try and get this done if possible before they get here so that we don't got a baby chiming in here. Let's run this one here as well. Okay, so let's go this one here. This is going to be a pain, I can already tell. Trying to fit 3 additional leads in this eyelet is going to be tough. All right, let's see how we can do this. I remember this being a pain in past amps. Kind of just got to cram it where you can fit it, right? There's some innuendos in there somewhere. So what I will do on these is I will use a dental pick. Just kind of try and give myself a little bit of room somewhere. Just to snake one by. There we go. Okay, cool. So we will solder this in and then we will kind of get all the leads looking better. But that's great. That was actually easier than I was expecting. And then this one we can solder as well. So let's just do this. That's what she said exactly. I did just buy myself some new solder actually. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. What I'm doing here, I don't know if you guys even tell what I'm doing, is I'm getting the base kind of done with the solder so it fills the entire eyelet. And then I add more solder and I slowly lift up the iron to kind of give it a bit of a dome feel. So the dome is actually created, as I understand it, because they added the solder in upside down to everything. So they soldered the other side, which means when they added a ton of solder, it kind of domed out on the other side. So if you're working from the top like we are here, you're going to get that same kind of result. Where it'll dome a bit on the bottom. So to avoid that, you don't want to add too much solder. So you can see the domes here. But what I kind of found is if I lift up, I can kind of get a pseudo dome, if you will. And again, something that nobody really noticed unless I pointed it out, but to me that just shows you care. It's one of those things that, it shows skill and then also shows that you care. So I will come back and add a better dome on those, but we're just kind of moving and grooving here. I'm looking forward to the new solder I got because it's a lot thicker. This is very thin solder, which makes things harder. And I forgot a wire. Where is this wire supposed to go? Like, what am I doing? This is supposed to go here. Whoopsie daisies. That's what happens when I'm just talking. This one goes over these. That's fine. So we'll just feed it through here. I'll probably have to desolder. Start over on that one. My bad. That's where chat was supposed to come into play. Come on, guys. You gotta keep me in line. This is a tight fit, jeez. This is how it was from the factory. I think what we'll do is we'll just try and see if I can squeeze it in there. And if we can, great. If we can't, then I'll just redo it. It's fine. Wow, that is so tight. So let's move this out of the way, this out of the way. Let's see if I can squeeze this under to give us a bit more room. There we go. Okay, now I've got more room. Let's get rid of some of the solder here on the end. All right, let's see if we can get that in now. Soldering is really a skill where you wish you were ambidextrous. It would be so much easier if you had equal hand-eye coordination with both hands. I definitely do not. So we just got to feed this in here while it's hot. Like so. And we'll redo it. I just want to get it started. And then once it's started, we can make things better. Cool. All right, that looks good. That looks good. Everything there looks good. So let's go ahead and add domes to those a bit more, and then we can move on to getting the last ones on the other side done. Which is gonna be a bit trickier due to the camera placement, but that's okay. All right, last one's here, and then we're done. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this live stream. Really appreciate it. Beautiful. All right, so let's just go ahead and get these wire placements a bit cleaner. Then we'll screw it in. Check our work. Three into this one into this one into this one. And then the back side, we just have the ground connection back there. That's all correct. All right, we're good. Awesome, so let's go ahead and screw it in. Are you going to play it after this? I guess I can do it really quickly. I do hear my family coming in, so I will have to be quick, but I guess we can. Just to prove it works. All right, let me just look at this a little bit closer here. What I like to do after recapping things too is I will grab some tape and then put in here and Sharpie on the date so that the next guy knows. Doesn't hurt anything, easily removed. Just makes it clear. Where's my Sharpie at? There it is. Recap New Year's Eve. All right, there you go. Yeatsy guitar, 12/30/23. Recap job done. Just make sure these screws are tight. This one seems to be spinning for some reason. Let's do this. Take this one out and redo it. Well, if you saw my video, Jim, on the other Pro Reverb I worked on, somebody had, with red pen or paint or something, written a positive sign here, negative sign there, did all sorts of goofy stuff like that, which I just think is crazy. This does not want to grab in. I think I need to do this screw first and do the bottom one later for a second. I really ascribe to the what's it called? The Hippocratic Oath. That sort of thing when it comes to working on amps. Do no harm. Right? We're just fixing them and getting them good to go. But we're not trying to harm them or leave an unnecessary fingerprint on them. I had somebody on that amp also. They literally wrote in Sharpie on the chassis on the inside their initials too, which I thought was crazy. All right, nice and screwed in there. That looks great. Now all this stuff here is just, I mean, we can get that off. It's not a big deal. Do I have a flathead here? So this is all just excess flux. So it'll just kind of scrape right off. Now, normally what you do is you'd hit it with isopropyl and that would remove it. However, you can see there's markings here, and I don't want isopropyl to touch that because it could remove that. So none of this is a negative to anything. It's literally just flux that just kind of comes out when you're adding solder. So I think we're okay to leave that. We just kind of wipe off some of the dust. All right, everything's looking good. Quadruple checking. Get a little paranoid. Make sure I did everything right. Have those stack on top so you can't really tell. That looks a little bit better. Beautiful. So now, I guess you guys want to hear it? Should we plug it in? We do a quick little test, I guess. It won't be, great audio because the cab's kind of far away from me and I just got a shotgun mic, but we can definitely test it. Show that it works. Okay, here's all the original caps. Let's go ahead and put this back on. Let me take a photo with my phone real quick. Send this to the new owner. Cool. Has some initials and date near the power transformer right where I'll be grounding chassis. Gotta love it. And Instagram question mark? What do you mean? Like their Instagram? Their initials? I guess technically Yitzy Guitar is my Instagram, so that counts, right? Maybe I should open it back up and put the little Instagram symbol. No, Instagram's dead. I don't get any traction over there anymore. I used to get a ton, actually. I used to have I got a decent amount of followers, but yeah, Instagram's kind of hidden all my content and hasn't shown anything in a long time. Which is a bit frustrating after you've invested so much time into it, but that's how things go. Oh, since I took a photo. Oh, yeah, sure, I can. I don't know, should I? Nobody's going to look at it, but I like sharing like reels of doing the work and whatnot, but nobody views them. They get like 100 views, even though I got, 2.7K followers or whatever it is. Doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, let's grab the vacuum, get rid of all this crap, and then we'll fire it up. I've got a question for people watching, just out of curiosity, purely curiosity here. What would you pay to have that work done that I just did? So say you had an amp like this, all original caps. What do you feel like is a fair price for something like that? Total, just out the door. I'm curious. I know most of you guys watching do this stuff yourself, but yeah, I'm just curious what people charge for this sort of stuff and what you guys feel is fair for that. You know, let me know what you guys think. So let's go ahead and we'll do it this way. Grab my little foam blocks for it. My stomach is growling. Oh, don't be shy in the comments, guys. What do you... Just tell me. I'm curious. Or maybe a better question is, what have you paid in the past if you've done it before? So let's push this forward a little bit for you guys so you have a better view of it. So now we can kind of go through and recap everything we did. Recap. So new bias cap, new cathode bypass caps here, new cap here for the trem, replace resistor, replace the screen and grid resistors, and then obviously everything doghouse and a 3-prong. So that's what we ended up doing to this amplifier. Looks good. How long have I been streaming? I can't, it's hard for me to find that stuff on the while I'm streaming. Can you guys see how long it's been streaming for? Is that right? Almost 3 hours? Wow. So, okay. Obviously not all of that was doing the work, but I don't know. Well, I'll have to go back and see how long it took me to do that. So let's throw tubes in it. Okay, parts plus couple $100. LOL, I don't know, man. That's fair. I'm not sure, but I think my amp guy's rate was $90 an hour. I wonder how many billable hours he would charge for doing a recap job. What do you think? Because I see a lot of, there's levels to this stuff, right? So some people, they do this amp tech stuff and it's they're retired, and so it's really just it's a hobby for them, and they don't charge much for the work done, and they do a lot for not a lot of money. And there's other people where, obviously this is like their living and they're professionals. See Brad's Guitar Garage and Lyle and those folks, so yeah, there's just kind of different levels to it. I'm just bending up these grid resistors just so they sit a bit higher off the socket. I forgot to do this when I installed them. Just so they got a little bit of an arch to them, just like that, over the middle of the socket. Start around 1:30-ish the time. Just an hour. Wow, that's a lot of work for $100. Right? So like you figure the cost plus you said $90 an hour. That's a ton of work for just $90. I'm not sure that would be totally worth it for me, honestly. If I were, trying to make money and whatever. Especially if you had a shop, my goodness, like overhead and everything, you'd have to charge more than that for sure. I would guess. All right, let me grab preamp tubes. Let's try to put them here. Did I do this wrong? 1, 2, 6, and I grabbed 7 tubes, so that's why. Here's my 12AT7. So in this stream, no, I just did the power section. In a previous video that I've filmed but haven't edited yet and posted, I did the bias cap and then all of the cathode bypass caps here, and then the screen and grid resistors. You can see nice and look how pretty that is, all nice and twisted and beautiful. Quite happy with how those came out. And I gotta finish before Brad starts his live stream. So once that goes, I'll lose everybody. This will be a good segue into his, actually. All right, let me confirm the tube chart. I have this right. It should be 3 12AX7s, 12AT7, 12AX7s. I can't remember. So 3 and 6 are AT7s. So I had this wrong. So 3 and 6. I guess it doesn't matter if the phase inverter is a 12AX7, that's fine for the test. Okay. So that is done. I didn't catch hold. I already answered that. Your attention to detail integrity makes you worth more than the average, in my opinion. Thank you, Josh. That's what I would go for. You know, I would never be the, all right, let me just churn and burn. You know, just do a million recaps for $50 or whatever. I would definitely be more the guy that you go to because he really cares and takes his time. And also, I think there's value too, and that people are willing to spend more if you film working on your amp, because there's that video history of it and you can see the work done and all of that. It's very clear out in the open. There's no hiding any of that, you know. So I've thought about that, what that would look like if I were to, you know, charge, like I put, when I create an invoice for people, I do put on there like a YouTube series, but I don't charge anything for it. But I'm just thinking like long term down the line if I wanted to do this a bit more. Because I enjoy doing the recaps and stuff. It's very fine detail. You know, you can see the domes here. Like, that's not a factory solder joint. You can see that. So that's a dome I created, and those are tough to do. That's not super easy. And you know, getting all of these to look nice, there's some skill involved for sure. I was charged for 3 hours plus parts for a PV deuce recap. $388 for my PV recap. That's a lot. That's a ton. Yeah, that's a lot. I don't know how involved a PV is, but yeah, that's a healthy chunk of change for sure. All right, so let's get the speaker cable here. Plug that in. Got the current limiter in chain as always. Everything looks okay. Let's grab the guitar cable. All right, everything looks okay now. So let's go ahead and turn on the Variac. You guys can't see it's off screen. Sorry about that. I will read you off the values we're pulling up here. Yeah, a lot of CAS. Okay, more than the amp is worth. Well, I mean, hey, at least it's a known good quantity, right? You know, it's good forever. So this amp should be good for a long time as well. All right, let's go ahead and fire her up. We'll slowly bring up the Variac, current limiter and chain. .30 volts. .50 volts. Nothing on the current limiter. 70 volts, should start getting the pilot light, and we do. 75 volts, nothing on the current limiter. 90 volts. 100 volts. 110 volts. There we go, starting to get a light on the current limiter. That's fine. Got the amp quite loud. It's on 6. We'll turn it down. And there's 120 volts. So let's go ahead and grab the guitar. Again, for those that missed it before, I'm playing a Danacaster Jazzmaster. I don't have a pick on me or anything, so we're just flying by the seat of our pants here. Let me turn down the camera audio so we don't blow it out. I'll turn down the stream audio as well. So we got a tube here, V1 of, this V1 of the vibrato channel. I think when I move the tubes around, I put the wrong one there. You can see touching it, it's not too happy. So let me turn this off. Let me put the guitar down actually. I'll put it in standby. Take a known good, at least I believe this is a known good. This was out of the Gretsch. We'll move that over to V1. right, let's try that again. I just have random tubes in this right now too, so we'll see if there's any issues that arise from that. There we go. Okay, we're good now. So you guys will have to tell me if it's clipping or not. All right, there you go. I hope you guys could hear everything okay there. Sounds beautiful. Gosh, this is such a good amp. Such a good amp, and an absolute steal for what they go for, what I sold it for. I mean, I didn't ask for a ton of money for it. I'm just really stoked on this thing. It sounds great. Man, such a good amp. So anyways, hopefully you guys can hear me and that wasn't too obnoxious guitar playing. My fingers are disgusting and sticky, and I've got no pick in my hand and whatever. But yeah, Danicaster Jazzmaster. You can see that. Beautiful guitar. Love it to death. And yeah, sounds amazing through that amp. Turned up, this thing just rocks. Once you get up to about 6, it's just such a good sound. Even with no reverb or anything hooked in, it's pretty stellar. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, appreciate all the live the live commenters and people hanging out with me for the past few hours. And yeah, go check out Brad's Guitar Garage. He's got his stream up, I'm sure, now or shortly. So anyways, thanks for watching, and until next time, see you guys.